How would you like to create better content in your business? If you're a speaker, you need great content in order to take that to the stage. If you're a blogger, you need great content to create better articles, right? If you're on YouTube, you need video content and you need the best content possible in order to grab attention and to have people watching your videos from the beginning to the end. I'm going to show you how to do that today as we go over my 3-step gap framework. Now, if you don't know me, my name is Lamar Tyler. I'm the creator and founder of Traffic, Sales, and Profit. We help entrepreneurs do 3 things: drive more traffic, convert more sales, and grow the amount of profit in your business. But today we're here to talk about the gap, y'all. And when I'm talking about the gap, I'm not talking about this gap. I'm not talking about your gap year, that mythical year you take off between high school and college. Who does that? If I'd have told my mother I was taking a gap year, she would have slapped me, right? We don't play those kind of games in the house I grew up in growing up. Not talking about that gap. I'm not talking about the fact that you can go and you can shop at the Gap, right? A lot of you guys growing up, right, the younger folks, you may not know what this is or who it is, but this is the Gap. A lot of us grew up shopping at a place called the Gap. When I'm talking about the Gap, I'm not talking about the thigh gap. This is obviously a thing. I didn't know this was a thing. Like one day, I was like stumbling for content for this talk, and I stumbled into something, and I wanted to stumble right back out of it. I did not know this was a thing. But this is a gap as well. But I'm not talking about either one of those gaps. When I'm talking about my gap, I'm talking about my 3-step framework that focuses on a goal, an audience, and a pain. Now, over the next few minutes, we're going to break down exactly what this is. Number 1 is the goal. That's the G. When I'm thinking about what is the goal for this piece of content, I'm going to say, what needs to happen at the end of my talk, at the end of my article, at the end of my video? What do I actually want that person to do? What's the goal of the content? This means that we start with the end in mind. We never start with, okay, I'm going to create something, and then at the end, let me try to figure out what I can do. We start with the end in mind, like, what is it that we want them to do, and let me create content that actually leads up to that. Number 2, when we talk about the goal, I want to say, am I teaching? Am I selling? Like, what exactly am I doing, right, as it relates to this goal? And number 3, I want to say, what do I want them to take away from me? What do I want them to take away from my speech? What do I want them to take away from my article? Or what do I want them to take away from my video? So for example, in this video right here that we're going through and we're talking about, my goal is to have you be able to leave with this framework in hand so that you can create better content. So we have to be clear on that. Now, once we conquer the goal piece, we have to go to the A, which is audience. And when we talk about audience, I'm looking at demographic data, psychographic data, and really using that to get my focus around, why are they here? Why is that person reading my blog? Why is that person watching my video? Why is that person sitting in a seat in order to hear me speak instead of being somewhere else? Why are they here? Now, some of you may be familiar with demographic data, but I want to break it down anyway, and then I'm going to talk about psychographic. Demographic data is basically just the statistical characteristics of human populations, things like age and income, used especially to identify markets. Psychographic data, studying classification of people according to their attitudes. What are their aspirations, right? And other psychological criteria, especially in market research. What are examples of those, Lamar? Here we go. Demographic data can be things like age, gender, location, like how much is their household income. Psychographic data can be things like their hobbies, their interests, their beliefs and values, their behavior. If I know how somebody behaves, I have the edge on being able to attract that lead and convert them into a customer. If I know what their belief system is, what do they value, what are their values, I have a better edge on being able to speak in a way that directly relates to who they are and what they stand for, and being able to, again, turn them from not just being a lead, but being able to get them into being a customer, right? We've got to get clear about that. And then when we talk about the gap, we've talked about the goal, we've talked about the audience. The last P is for pain. What is the biggest challenge that they face? How do they actually explain the pain, right? So not just what is the pain, but what are the words they use to actually articulate what that pain looks like and how it manifests in their life. Because if you're the expert and you're talking in acronyms they don't understand, if you're using terminology they don't understand, you're using all these things you picked up on the way to your MBA or your PhD or whatever other letters you want to look at, they may not understand, even though you could be talking about the exact same thing. So what are the actual words they use to explain it? And then how does your talk, your content, your blog, your video help them to actually overcome it? So this is what we're going to do. I want you to step into this. I want you every time now you begin to create a piece of content to use the gap. I want you to look at what is the goal of this piece of content. What is the audience that this piece of content will sit in front of, and what is the pain point that you can help them overcome, the challenge that they face, and how your product, your service, or this content helps them overcome that pain point. Lamar Tyler, Traffic, Sales, and Profit. We'll see you next time.